what if Luffy already knew the secret of the One Piece? This single twist would flip the entire story of One Piece on its head. The One Piece is not just gold or treasure, it's the world's greatest secret, tied to Joy Boy, the Void Century, and the Ancient Kingdom. If Luffy had learned the truth before setting sail, everything would change. His journey, his crew, his enemies, and even the very meaning of being Pirate King. Luffy's dream has always been simple. He doesn't talk about ruling, wealth, or fame. He just wants freedom, adventure, and to be Pirate King. But imagine if he started with the knowledge of the One Piece's true meaning. For someone like Luffy, who lives in the moment and laughs in the face of destiny, this truth could be both meaningless and the heaviest burden in history. Think back to Sabaody. When Rayleigh offered to tell the Straw Hats the truth about the Void Century and the One Piece, Luffy refused. He wanted to discover it with his own crew, with his own eyes. That choice defines him. But what if he had no choice? What if he was forced to carry that truth from the very beginning? The Straw Hat crew would immediately feel the difference. Instead of following a carefree captain chasing a dream, they'd be following someone already burdened by the world's greatest secret. Zoro might question whether Luffy was still the man whose ambition inspired him. Nami, who longs for freedom and discovery, might feel cheated if her captain already knew how the story ends. Sanji, who lives for adventure and wonder, might see the journey lose its spark. And Robin, who dedicated her life to finding the truth of the Void Century, would be shaken to her core. Would she even trust Luffy if he already had the knowledge she had been searching for since childhood? The bonds between the crew might fracture before they could even form. And then there's the world government. If Luffy held the truth of the One Piece from day one, his bounty wouldn't start at 30 million. He'd be branded the greatest threat to world order from the very beginning. Imagine the East Blue Saga, where he fought Buggy, Kuro, Don Krieg, and Arlong, except admirals or even the CP0 were already hunting him. His very existence would destabilize the world. Instead of building his strength step by step, he'd be thrown into battles against the strongest far too early. Would he even survive long enough to reach the Grand Line? Now let's dive into the prophecy of Joy Boy. Joy Boy isn't just someone who knows the truth, it's someone who inherits the will of freedom, someone who brings laughter and hope to the world. Luffy's innocence, his ability to smile and inspire without the weight of history crushing him, is exactly what makes him the chosen one. If he already knew everything, would he still be Joy Boy? Or would that knowledge strip away the very innocence that makes him special? Think about his battles. Crocodile wanted ancient weapons. Enel believed he was a god destined to rule the sky. Doflamingo dreamed of controlling the world's strings. Kaido sought death in the greatest war. And Blackbeard wants absolute power. In every fight, Luffy opposed them not with knowledge, but with unshakable will and a pure dream. If he already knew the truth, those battles would no longer be about clashing dreams. They would become the struggles of a boy carrying a prophecy he already understood. The fun, the adventure, the unpredictability, all of it would shift into something darker and heavier. Even his allies might treat him differently. Whitebeard, Shanks, Law, and Kid, all of them might not see Luffy as a reckless rookie anymore, but as a figure of destiny who already holds the answer to the world's greatest mystery. Would they rally behind him or fear him? And let's not forget, the One Piece is not just treasure. It is laughter. It is freedom. It is the shared joy of a world once united. If Luffy already knew this, would he still laugh in the face of danger? Would he still treat every meal, every party, every adventure as if it were the greatest treasure? Or would that knowledge weigh on him until he no longer felt like the same Luffy we love? The spirit of One Piece is about the unknown. The laughs, the tears, the adventures, the friendships built along the way, that is the real treasure. If Luffy already knew the answer, would he even bother to set sail? Or would he believe that chasing a dream is pointless if you already know the ending? Maybe the greatest risk is not that the government hunts him, but that knowing the truth would rob him of the one thing that defines him, his pure and reckless love for freedom. So here's the final question. Would the story of One Piece even survive if Luffy already knew the ending? Would he still become Pirate King? Or would the burden of knowledge crush him before his journey even began? Tell me what you think. Would Luffy's journey be even more legendary? Or would it lose the very magic that makes One Piece the greatest adventure of all time?